But our whole vision of our church that God gave us is to grow generations that transform communities. That even speaks to not just my lifetime, but I want to grow up a whole group of generations that grow up generations that grow up generations that all they think about is bringing transformation to people's lives in such a way that it literally transforms communities.
Yeah. Hi, my friends. Welcome to Oaks Insider, where we're helping people build and drive culture in the local church and their everyday lives.
Love it.
Hey, man, I'm excited about today because we got some really good things happening here around even this idea of transforming communities, and we've got an opportunity that we want to make sure everybody is in the know on. And that's even the whole idea of the Oaks Insider was, hey, what would it be like if we expanded the team from, maybe some tens of so people, maybe 40 people to hundreds of people running the same play at the same time? And this is one of those opportunities that we've got going.
Yeah, this just last November, we had John Maxwell come in and did a community engagement activity at the Civic Center.
Yeah, there's over 1,000 people in the community that showed up to that.
And we had over 100 who said in the community that they wanted to do roundtables, and curriculum. And that's very significant to have business people, government officials, schools, different, like this, chamber leaders, businesses. They're saying we need values. How many? You guys admit, right, with me that our nation has a value
deficit.
Even
if we can't get people to a Sunday morning service, we still need to have some
We need
values.
honesty, integrity. Yes. We need a high work ethic. We need positive attitude.
Right. So that's what these roundtables are about. We need intentional
growth, intentional family, intentional helping a value add, right? All of that. And so what's happening is, as I'm going with John on these trips that I've been on this last year, it's basically growing. The whole vision of our church is growing generations that transform communities. And so part of what has brought me on these trips with John is to say, okay, so how are we going to bring transformation to our community? Because that's what he's doing, is national transformation.
Right.
So he is asking me, hey, you got to join me and help me to bring transformation into different countries. I said, well, I want to do that, but I need some help bringing transformation to our community. He said, well, how about if I partner with you on that? So that's what this is about. This next week, we're starting this new Beyond Success roundtables, or what we call small groups. Very similar to what we already do, is you're going to be in your small group. If you're already in a small group, you're in it. If not, you need to go to Growth Track and get in. If you haven't done that already, get to Growth Track and get in a group, and they're going to be Beyond Success. It's going to be all the John Maxwell training. That's 6 weeks on values, 6 weeks on intentional living, which he says is probably the number one book you should start with if you're reading any of his material, because it's about how do you get intentional and purposeful about growing in your life.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to be doing it on Sunday morning. So what I'm going to be doing is approaching these things from God's Word. So we'll be doing that on Sunday morning, which I think is going to be huge. Think about if all these values from God's Word and the intentional living was happening in our community as a church, how big of a deal that would be. I think it's going to be huge for us. But then in our small groups, we're going to be doing the roundtable curriculum. We chose on purpose, guys, to do it the route that's the secular route. So it doesn't have Bible verses and so forth.
So you can invite anybody, even if they're church immune or whatever. That's not the pitch. The pitch is, hey, would you like to be a part of a roundtable where we're going to go through some values curriculum here?
Exactly. The other thing is, like the people in my small group, I'm hoping and praying to challenge every single one of them, even the moms in there, and I say even the moms in the sense of they're not working in the office, some of them they work
their
from
schedules
home, or
are
their schedules with their kids.
Really
is to do it as a family. Do these roundtables as a family. Discuss it with your teenage kids, like this. And then the others is I'm going to encourage all of them. Some of them are business owners. Some of the guys and ladies in our group, they're in business, whether they own it or they work at a place, at an office, to take these values that they're learning in the roundtable, turn it around, and do it with a group of 5 or 6 people in their office.
Yeah, which speaks to everything that we talk about around here.
Number one responsibility
is what?
Make disciples.
That's it. And wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're still on the hook for that.
This is going to be an incredible opportunity for those of you who are looking for, how could I start the conversation about God? How could I start the conversation about God stuff? We'll start with value stuff.
Yeah.
And then the great thing about it is, At that deal in November when John was there, do you remember what he did the last thing?
I don't know. Remind me.
He did the 2 teachings. Then he said to everybody, hey, we're done.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to stay,
stick around.
I want to share with you the 4 pictures of God.
Yeah.
And he shared 3 faulty pictures of God and then the real picture of God that's truth. And there was like 60 people or so that gave their heart to the Lord. Here's the deal. In this material, we have a material that they're going to put on the screen. You're going to be able to find about it, how to go there. All the material as PDF files to download for free to use in your office or whatever. The videos of John Maxwell teaching to open it up for free. You take that. But it also has the 4 pictures of God. So it's built in that after 6 weeks of the values, you can say, hey, there's a bonus session he puts in here if we want to watch it or not. It's basically a 10-minute video of why how he sees God and where he got all this stuff. And it's optional if we want to watch it. Would we want to watch it? And then he gives...
And probably just like at his gatherings, he's going to have 90% of the people stick around and go, yeah, man, what do I have to lose? This other stuff has really benefited me. You'll probably have the same type of
Think about if you're at a lunch and you're going, hey, it's now in the lesson that he said we can do this as a bonus. We're going to take a 5-minute break. If you want to stay, I'm going to show it. If you don't, that's okay. Sure. We gave time. We're done.
Yeah.
And do it that way. But then, man, it opens up the conversation. Mm-hmm. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be amazing for our community. Can I just share my vision? As an insider, I just want to share kind of my vision thought on this. I'm in this for the long haul, guys, not just for this series. But our whole vision of our church that God gave us is to grow generations that transform communities. That even speaks to not just my lifetime, but I want to grow up a whole group of generations that grow up generations that grow up generations, that all they think about is bringing transformation to people's lives in such a way that it literally transforms communities.
Yeah.
That's the vision. And so this is our beginnings of this in this way. We've already been doing this with all that we do in the community, our engagement in the community, everything that we think about is working and serving with people in the community. Yeah. This is the next step. And this is kind of our beginning. And so I'm hoping that you will catch this vision with me, that what if we changed? What if our families changed? What if the people that we have influence with in our businesses and in our community, that we could get around these values and intentional living like this, and people could buy into that?
Yeah.
If we hit 10%, Gladwell, his book, The Tipping Point, says if you hit 10%, you got a tipping point.
You've got
of
what
change.
you need. Yeah.
And so if we could even get 10% of our community in the next 2 or 3 years to buy into these values and this, it could make a difference in what this community is like, and who knows how God could use that in other communities in our nation. Our nation is hungry for this because we're so value deficit.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the vision.
I love it. This is going to be fantastic, and what a great way to jump into the new year.
Yeah.
Man, this is fantastic, and it speaks totally to who we are as a church. So thank you. There's information that you're going to be able to get on how to jump in if you're not already in, and we're excited about moving this thing forward.
You can get in a group by going to Growth Track, or you can see the information there to sign up to come to one of the roundtable leading facilitator trainings coming up. We're going to have multiple ones coming up. We just want everybody to be involved in transformation.
Yeah, we're going to continue the conversation, so thanks for being a part of the Oaks Insider, and we'll see you next time.
See you. Thanks so much for joining us today for Oaks Insider. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, do it. Stop right now and do it on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Play. Subscribe so you can get this easily every single week. And if you're not following us, at Oaks Church TX, that's for Texas, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Again, thanks for joining us.